all she did was walk away. And I was like, what is this about? What?
That's okay though. For being so young, you're very, very smart. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So keep up the good work, man, and stay flat, okay?
Okay, I'm a flat earther. She couldn't do it. I'm a flat earther. I'm a flat earther. I'm a flat earther. I'm a flat earther. Because it doesn't curve, the water always finds its level.
What'd your teacher do?
She just didn't talk to me anymore. All she did was walk away. And I was like, what is this about? What?
That's okay though. For being so young, you're very, very smart. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So keep up the good work, man, and stay flat, okay?
Okay, I'm a flat earther. She couldn't do it.
Up for sound bites. This is awesome.
All right, everyone. Welcome back to Anti-Religious Scripture Study with me, Karen B., and of course, Just Jack Flat Earth.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Welcome back, y'all.
Yeah, sorry, it was a late start. My fault. Had a family situation that we had to take care of this morning, but I'm glad we're here. We made it. Alrighty. I'm just gonna get into my disclaimer. Just Jack's disclaimer. To the religious, if you believe it's wrong to study the scripture outside of your religion or denomination, if you believe your religious leaders or church fathers are incapable of having inherited anti-scriptural traditions of men, if you've already made up your mind about scripture, including the scripture shouldn't be studied at all, then this stream is not for you. To others, if you are open-minded to others' opinions, if you haven't made up your mind about scripture, if you've been turned off to religion but believe there's truth in scripture that may have been changed or hidden by religion, if you live according to the scripture and like to dig in and discover more, then the stream is for you. We are looking at scripture in the original language using concordances or dictionaries for words, as well as context from a non-religion perspective. We will as well have life experience discussion. We are not here to argue with others about theology or doctrine by the traditions of men, including Catholicism, Christianity, Islam, or Judaism. We will be discussing the importance of origins and show how religions contradict the scriptures. There we go. All righty. So for people who haven't been up to date, we are in the book of Deuteronomy, which is also called Devarim, the words. And this is Moshe's last speech before they crossed over into the Yarden before Moshe passes away, aka Moses, for those who don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a lot of recap and further details than the previous 3 books. And we are in chapter 12.
All right.
So I'm going to go back to parallel.
All right.
And I changed the format a little bit so that most of the translation could be read at the same time, where before it was kind of cutting it off with a smaller window. So I'm going to pull this back down here. Is the window okay in the bottom right-hand corner as far as width?
Well,
Do I need to go more left?
yeah, you need to go more left because my camera
Like that?
is there.
Is that better?
Well, you can, if you want that part longer, then if you could make the white box a touch taller, then I can put my camera above your camera.
I'll just use what you already have rather than changing the setup. If I got to pull it more left, I'll pull it more left. That's fine.
Okay. Yeah, it needs to go more left because
Let me know.
my camera is blocking it. Okay, more.
Okay.
More.
Okay.
You're like halfway behind my box still.
What? I don't remember it being that far. Okay, change it. we should have done this earlier. This is my fault, folks. I'll change it back.
Do you want to make it, if you want to make the little white box in the lower right-hand corner just a little bit taller, then I can stack our boxes, and then that language part can be longer if you want that box longer.
Okay. Actually,
The way you have it right now, everything can be seen, if that's good. Or do you want to change it more?
Okay, well, I can just turn off commentaries then.
Okay, that works.
If it's all still visible, so can I pull it any more to the right, or are we good there?
You can pull it to the right, like a little bit.
All right. Like that?
Yeah.
Okay.
It'll work.
Sorry, folks. That's my fault. How
right.
dare I? All right, so yeah, and I was just leaving the blank commentary down there for the camera box, so this will be fun. So as we've discussed and many times before, when they translate laws, right rulings, traditions, judgments, any of those words, you should actually look them up and see what they are, because they are different from each other, but they get translated interchangeably. So that's just this says these are the laws when it's the inscriptions or decrees, rather than what is typically translated as law, which is Torah, which is, directional. So, all right, so you can start reading whenever you're ready.
All right. These are the laws and right rulings which you guard to do in all the land which Yehovah Elohim of your fathers is giving you to possess, all the days that you live on the soil.
Okay, and soil is a better translation than King James Version, which uses earth. Earth, we know, is typically translated from Eretz, which is the physical plane, but this is more ground, redding. So that's like Adam was taken from Adamah, so ground, not earth. All right, 2.
Completely destroy all the places where the nations which you are dispossessing served their mighty ones, on the high mountains and on the hills and under every green tree.
Okay, so this one says the nations that you do inherit rather than dispossessing, which you shall possess. Yeah, so I don't know why dispossessing was translated there. It's actually that you are possessing, you are inheriting.
Mm.
And this high mountain and hills under every green tree, this is a typical thing in the near Middle Eastern culture called high places, where they actually have like tops of mountains and stuff dedicated to certain deities. A lot of the times in this this timeline, they're dealing with Asherah, Aristote, Easter, Ishtars. It's all the same animal, where they would have a share of poles, which represent the dismemberment of Easter's son, Nimrod, who is also the alleged reincarnated sun god. Yeah, so it's all based in that worship stuff. So these high places, he's saying when you get there, make sure you knock them down and not do what modern religion has done, where instead of knocking down old high places, they convert high places. Like these altars where they sacrifice children, we'll just put a new altar over top of that and say that it's baptized in the name of our religion, which has happened many times, especially over in the Jerusalem area. So just FYI, just a little history and twisted nonsense that goes on there. Just like the word kirke, church, comes from the circus worship, and they just adopt these things and baptize them for their new religion. All right, verse 3.
And you shall break down their slaughter places, and smash down their pillars, and burn their asherim with fire, and you shall cut down the carved images of their mighty ones, and shall destroy their name out of that place.
Now, King James Version says burn their groves. And I appreciate that the Scriptures version did show that it's the asherim, which comes from the worship of Asherah. So,
Hmm. Do not do so to Yehovah your Elohim, but seek the place which Yehovah your Elohim chooses out of all your tribes to put his name there for his dwelling place, and there you shall enter.
okay, again, so this is about choose a place that Yah chooses and don't just baptize previous locations, right? 6.
And there you shall take your ascending offers, and your slaughters, and your tithes, and the contributions of your hand, and your vowed offerings, and your voluntary offerings, and the firstlings of your herd and of your flock.
And we've gone through these different sacrifices before,
Mm-hmm.
and I recommend you go back and listen to different verses about that, or at least look at the root words of these offerings, because they're often mistranslated. All right, 7.
And there you shall eat before Yehovah your Elohim, and shall rejoice in all that you put your hand to, you and your households in which Yehovah your Elohim has blessed you.
Okay, so I was talking to Karen about this earlier today, that this word, excuse me, rejoice, samak, is a pretty rare occurrence compared to like some words that mean similar things that show up much more times, like to be happy. This samak is a lot of times specifically to the Moedim, that the times that you are commanded to rejoice during these Moedim, like it's to party, have a good time. And most of the time, a majority of the time, it's rejoice in your what's translated typically as soul, nefesh, or life source, which will come up later. So we'll look at it again there when we get there. Verse 8.
Do not do as we are doing here today, each one doing whatever is right in his own eyes.
Yep.
because you have not yet entered the rest of the inheritance which Jehovah your Elohim is giving you. But you shall pass over the Yarden, and shall dwell in the land which Jehovah your Elohim is giving you to inherit, and he shall give you rest from all of your enemies around about, and you shall dwell in safety.
Okay, and this rest is not shalom. This rest is the same rest as in the name of Noach. This is ni, which means, to have rest. But yeah.
And it shall be that unto the place which Jehovah your Elohim chooses to make his name dwell there, there you are to bring all that I command you, your ascending offerings and your slaughters and your tithes and the contributions of your hand and all your choice offerings which you vow to Jehovah.
Yeah.
And you shall rejoice before Jehovah your Elohim, you and your sons and your daughters and your male servants and your female servants and the Levite who is within your gates, since he has no portion nor inheritance with you.
Okay, so this again is pointing towards that rejoice, and it kind of gives you more of a hint because it says, and with the Levite who has no inheritance. How do you rejoice with someone who has no inheritance? Because rejoicing is saying specifically like, eating and drinking and all that stuff. And since the Levite has no inheritance, you invite them to drink and eat with you and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So that they're not left out in the party, so to speak. And it actually talks about in further reference in Deuteronomy that you also take care of the widows, the orphans, those in need, and the Levites. And that's the inclusion of those who you take care of with your tithe. All right, 13.
Guard yourself that you do not offer your ascending offerings in every place that you see, except in the place which Jehovah chooses, in one of your tribes. There you are to offer your ascending offerings, and there you are to do all that I command you.
Okay.
Only whatever your being desires you shall slaughter and eat, according to the blessing of Jehovah your Elohim, which he has given you, within all your gates. The unclean and the clean do eat of it, of the gazelle and the deer alike.
And this says sacrifice and eat, not slaughter and eat. But this is, typical for the scriptures version, like they call it the slaughter place instead of just the altar,
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that. But also this is where, let's see if this is correct. This is the nefesh avah, soul lusteth after, is another instance where they translate poorly. So if I go over here to King James Version and it says soul lusteth after, and I look up this word that they translate as lusteth after, and then I can search the entire Old Testament, and I'm just going to change it to Pentateuch, which is just Torah, and show you it's only 7 times in here. And it is typically soul lusteth after, soul lusteth after, soul lusteth after, desire of his mind, and desires of the soul. But if you look, desire and lusteth is the same number, H185, and nefesh, which is the life source, and mind in this occasion are the same word as well, 5315. So they translate it in some locations to make a more desirable sounding in some locations, but less desirable sounding in other locations, because a lot of people get turned off by the term lusteth after, even though the desire of your life source, which is more important than the desire of your mind, right? Which is what they put here. It's like what connects to your soul. Like your soul desires it,
Mm-hmm.
your life source.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's nothing wrong with me lusting after my wife because she's my wife, right?
Right.
My soul should desire her. But that's a specific thing. Just like the rejoicing, if you look at those in occasion, you can see that they are speaking, again, changing it to Pentateuch to close it down, only 12 verses. And Leviticus 23:40 is where it talks about rejoicing for the Moedim of Sukkot, aka, camping party week, right? And you can see in the context of the chapter we're in right now, which is Deuteronomy 12, and then in Deuteronomy 14:26, it says the same thing, where it says, it talks about I'll just go there really quick, and then I can go back. It says, if your way is too long, and I've mentioned this in the calendar review that I've done multiple times. If the way is too long for you, that's so that you're not able to carry it, and the place be too far from you, which Jehovah your Elohim shall choose to set his name there, when Jehovah your Elohim has blessed you, then you shall turn that tithe into money. It doesn't say tithe, but I'm just referring to the previous verse. And bind up the money in your hand, and you shall go to the place which Jehovah your Elohim shall choose, and you shall bestow that money for whatever your soul lusteth after. No, whatever your nefesh desires. For oxen, for sheep, for wine, for even strong drink, which again, I show people who say that drinking is evil. I show them this verse. For whatever your soul desireth. Here it says soul lusteth. Here it says soul desireth. Thou shalt eat before Jehovah your Elohim, and you shall rejoice, you and your household. Right? So there's nothing bad there. It's talking about this is how you prepare by setting apart a portion of your tithe so that you have party money for you and for the people who can't afford to do the same. So, yeah, nothing wrong there. Anyway, for soul lust, yeah. All right.
All right.
But this is what they do. Just by the slight translation differences, it changes the whole thought process between mind desire and soul lusteth.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Only the blood you do not eat. Pour it on the earth like water.
Okay, so some people say this means I can't have a rare steak. No, it does not. There is typical belief systems that believe that you have power by consuming blood. Like not just cooking with blood. I'm talking about eating blood straight. And like blood pudding, I think is right there on the verge because it's like coagulated blood as a meal. Very disgusting to me.
And blood sausage.
But they're specifically trying to eat blood.
Yeah.
Where it's not the same as like, if you eat a rare steak, then you're breaking this command. No, it's not. It's like eating blood specifically.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, you drain out the blood of the animal.
Yeah.
Which, it should be common sense these days, but, All right, 17.
All right. You are not allowed to eat within your gates the tithe of your grain, or of your new wine, or of your oil, or of the firstlings of your herd, or of your flock, or of any of your offerings which you vow, or of your voluntary offerings, or of the contribution of your hand.
All right, just to jump back, just because I was thinking about it. Sorry, about the eating blood thing. Even modern tradition today, man takes his son out for his first hunt, kills a deer, tells him to drink the blood and eat the heart. Yeah, that's still a modern tradition. That's carried over from that kind of practice. All right, 18.
But eat them before Yehovah your Elohim, in the place which Yehovah your Elohim chooses, you and your son and your daughter and your male servant and your female servant and the Levite who is within your gates, and you shall rejoice before Yehovah your Elohim in all that he put your hands to. Okay.
Again, this is talking about the big party in the place where Jehovah causes his name to dwell. Mm-hmm. And the other thing is it's referenced later on in this book, but it says that when they moved the ark that was called by his name, so when they move the Ark of the Covenant around, or the container of the contract, it's the same as moving Yehovah around, because that's like his, his node, where he appears,
Mm-hmm. Guard yourself that you do not forsake the Levite as long as you live in your land.
Again, taking care of the Levites because they don't have a portion.
When Yehovah your Elohim enlarges your border, as he has promised you, and you say, let me eat meat, because you long to eat meat, you eat as much meat as your being desires.
Okay.
When the place where Yehovah your Elohim chooses to put his name is too far from you, then you shall slaughter from your herd and from your flock which Jehovah has given you, as I have commanded you, and you shall eat within your gates as much as your being desires.
Okay, so again, if it's too long for you, you still need to party. Yeah, it's still the same thing. Which eating meat was a celebrational thing, not an everyday thing. Just pointing that out. All right, 22.
Only as the gazelle and the deer are eaten, so you are to eat of it. The unclean and the clean alike eat of it.
And this is not clean and unclean as in like pig. This
Right.
is talking about how it's prepared for the moed and not prepared for the moed as in, you're supposed to go to the place where Yah commands and bring your sacrifice and have it slaughtered there. But if it's too far from you, then you can eat it even if you don't go through the same process. And here's the thing about the blood again.
Only be strong not to eat the blood, for the blood's the life. Do not eat the life with the meat.
Very interesting quote there.
Do not eat it. You pour it on the earth like water.
Yeah, and this also goes back to all the way when they first got off the ark, Noah and his family. He's like, any blood will be required. Anyone who spills the blood, that blood will be required of that individual, or same as the animal as well. So this whole thing about the blood is very important,
Do not eat it, that it might be well with you and your children after you, when you do what is right in the eyes of Jehovah. Only the set-apart gifts which you have and your vowed offerings you are to take up and go to the place which Jehovah chooses.
Only the set aparts. Gifts is italicized because it was added. It just says the set aparts plural.
And you shall make your ascending offerings, the meat and the blood, on the slaughter place of Jehovah your Elohim, and the blood of your slaughterings is poured out on the slaughter place of Jehovah your Elohim, and you eat the meat.
So that's what we're talking about in the clean way, that you eat the meat.
Guard and obey all these words which I command you, that it might be well with you and your children after you forever, when you do what is good and right in the eyes of Jehovah your Elohim.
Okay.
When Jehovah your Elohim does cut off from before you the nations which you go to dispossess, and you dispossess them and dwell in their land. Guard yourself that you are not ensnared to follow them after they are destroyed from before you, and that you do not inquire about their mighty ones, saying, how did these nations serve their mighty ones, and let me do so too?
And this happens multiple times where they're right on track. They're, doing Yah's will. Nobody's fighting with them. And then they start saying, I wonder what these people do to worship their gods. And they start bringing in some stuff. And then they start going to war again. It just happens over and over again. And then you have modern religions that's like, how did they worship the creator? Okay, let's incorporate that into our new religion, right? So like when they have, sun god worship, child sacrifice, or fertility goddess, sacrifices, let's just make that part of our new religion. We'll call it Catholicism because it's a universal religion. Anyway, moving on. 31.
Do not do so to Jehovah your Elohim, for every abomination which Jehovah hates they have done to their mighty ones, for they even burn their sons and daughters in the fire to their mighty ones.
There you go. That's talking about how they did it. But then they just adopt it and make new holidays out of it. It's horrible. Horrible.
All the words I am commanding you, guard to do it. Do not add to it, nor take away from it.
Very important verse. If you read the scriptures, right, and it says one thing, but then you say, but now we do this, or that's not what it really says. Even though it says this, what it really means is this, and they don't have any like translation to back it. It's just a theological premise. It happens all the time. This is what it means to not add to it or take away from it. Like, let's say, for instance, Judaism, which is those who are loosely based on the Old Testament. they have a whole set of laws that are allegedly based on Torah, that are exponentially longer, exponentially more commandments. And some of it is just, when you look at the verse that they use to make their command, it's like, how the heck did they get that from that? They just make crap up on the regular. So, oh my gosh, Musicians for Truth. How you doing, Dred? I ain't seen you in a minute.
Hey,
All right.
MFT.
All right, so we got Gregory May, Joseph Osborne, NDB, Tony Coriolis, JP. Let's see, Sheriff Shallon. Sorry if I said that wrong. Emily S. Valley Parks. Earth First Space Later. Dennis, how you doing, brother? Austin Murphy. Good Times for All. What's up, Zach? Islingson, what's up? What's up, Cammy? Lord Racer. Musicians for Truth, which is blowing my mind right now.
He shows up once in a while.
Yeah, him and I go way back, like 2016.
Yeah, he's been around for a long time.
Yeah, that's crazy.
He's an old school flat earther.
So, Tony Coriolis is complaining about the ads that they're showing on your live stream.
I apologize.
Dude, it used to be that ads were pertaining to the subject or close to it, and now it's like the ads are showing the exact opposite. Like I've seen a lot of I don't know if you know him, but the comedian with the red hair and the muscles.
Oh, Carrot Top.
No.
No?
A truther. Awaken with JP.
Oh, okay. The other redheaded comedian with muscles.
Yeah. Carrot Top didn't have muscles when I first started watching him, okay?
He's got a lot of them now.
So like, he does some stuff with the alleged president to be elect, blah blah blah, whatever. I don't like politics, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But they'll show Kamala Harris saying, like, if you donate $10, we can help all those undecided votes. Just crazy stuff. Anyway, Sheriff Shallon's coming to town right down the street from me again. Like, everybody's coming to upstate South Carolina and lower North Carolina.
Yeah, somebody else just moved out this way too. So we should plan, what we need to do is plan another big meetup so we can get all the locals together again. Now we got some new additions.
I agree. All right. I'm just seeing a lot of, just chit chat. Nothing about, how you mentioned this and MFT mentioned this, so we might as well mention this. Allegedly, I haven't seen it yet. The Olympic opening ceremony was super cringe, lots of agenda about the trans movement, et cetera, et cetera. So MFT says, how offensive was the Olympic opening ceremony to Christians? Downright awful, and I'm boycotting that shit, and I'm not even a Christian. And I know that about you, Dred. We've had some good conversations about that, which is cool. But yeah, it's pretty bad. So they recreated the Last Supper with drag queens. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, they did bad. It's pretty ugly.
Wow. You give them an inch and they take them out. Yeah, that's the whole point, right? They get it normalized and then they just overtake, It's like, originally, I won't mention the other situation, but originally there was a thing that was thought of that it's a spiritual problem if you have this kind of a lifestyle. Then it turned into maybe it's a mental problem if you have this kind of lifestyle. And then it turned into, no, this is a perfectly normal lifestyle, but it's, it's taboo. And then it's like normal. And then it's like, you should praise them for having this alternative lifestyle. And now it's going the same way with people who think they're not the gender they were born with. It's just, they just keep doing that. And now there is approved organizations that, there are a group of men who desire children, but it's okay because they don't act on it.
Ugh.
But this is a government approved group or a protected group. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
They're protected. It's freaking insane the way the world is going.
it is
Um,
insane. Yeah.
yeah, political ads, Tony Coriola said. So I guess you got political ads too. If you're redheaded, you better have muscles. That's funny.
It is funny.
Yeah, lots of money getting dumped into the blue team ads. It's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Alrighty. I guess we're good. That now there's going to be like a chit chat about that for a while. So.
Yeah. All right, you guys. Thank you for
All set.
joining us for another episode of Anti-Religious Scripture Study, and we will see you again next week. And we hope you
And the
have,
earth is still flat.
and the
And
earth is
Shabbat
still
Shalom.
flat. Shabbat Shalom, and have a restful day.
Bye bye.